Hi and welcome back to Design Matters TV. All winter I have been keeping warm by wearing one of these infinity scarves that I've been making. I'm totally converted, I just love them. They are so cosy and they're so quick and simple to make as well that today I thought I'd show you how to make your own. Now the one that I'm wearing is one of my favourite print designs, and it's this image of a hawthorn hedge that I took a photograph of in the winter, so there's no leaves, it's just the twiggy spiky thorns photographed against a nice clean wintry sky. And this is one of my all-time favourite designs that we print here at Fingerprint, and so when I was deciding what I was going to put on a new infinity scarf, I knew that was the one, so I just thought I'd show you that design. The beauty of these infinity scarves is that they're so easy to wear. Let me show you and just take this one off. I like to wear mine double, so it's really cozy up against my neck, but you can see when I open it out it's just a large looping shape, and you can wear it as a single loop or just twist it around, pop it over your head, and you can double it up and obviously just, you know, arrange it until you're happy with how it's sitting. Now here's another one, and you can see here this large loop shape, and the beauty of it is there's no right and wrong side. The way that it's constructed, all of the wrong side of the fabric is inside, so it really doesn't matter how you put it on, you're always going to see a really nice bit of scarf. What makes it lovely and gives it a little bit of interest is that rather than just a straightforward loop, when you sew it you introduce a twist, and that makes it sit really nicely when you wear it. Now let me show you what you need to do to make it. Fabric choice is really important, obviously. With something that you want to wear, you want it to be warm and cozy and also soft and have a little bit of drape as well. So the scarves that I'm wearing are made out of a very fine cotton lawn. You could use a patchwork cotton, but I think you might find that it's too stiff. So look into your stash and see if you've got any finer things like finer lawn. Silks could work, chiffons, georgette type fabrics, something with a bit more drape. They'll all work beautifully. The example here is one of these cotton lawns, and the piece that you need, a size of fabric that you need, is roughly 145 centimetres wide by 75 centimetres long. Now that can be of a single piece of fabric, or here in this instance I've pieced together two different pieces of fabric, and you can see it's the same design, and this is one of Linda's block printed designs from a sketchbook page that we've scanned and then printed onto the cotton lawn. And you can see I've printed it at two sizes, so I've got the design quite small here, and then the same thing but just much enlarged and turned round here. And there's the join. If I just flip it to the back, you can see it's seamed really simply. All I've done is I've put right sides together, sewn a straight seam, pressed it to one side, and then from the top, from the right side, I've top stitched on the side where I've pressed it over to, so I'm securing those raw edges. Can you see? Just there. Now that means that I don't have to worry about zigzagging. I can just do all of the sewing on this straight stitch machine, and I don't have to worry about these edges, because that extra bit of stitching is going to hold them really nice and secure. And I think it just gives a lovely bit of detail as well on the right side of the scarf. So you can assemble your large rectangle of fabric from as many different pieces as you want. It could be really quite patchworked and be a real scrap busting piece, or if you've got a large piece of fabric, keep it really simple and really quick and just cut it from that single piece. So once you've got your large rectangle, 145 centimetres by 75 centimetres, then you need to do some very straightforward sewing, and we're going to fold it right sides together so that the long sides are coming together, okay? And we're going to stitch this long seam. So you can pin it, and especially if you're using silk chiffon or something that's a bit slithery, then I would say yeah, it's probably best to pin it. This cotton lawn is really quite well behaved, and I'm going to get away with just holding those edges together and sewing it. I'm just going to take just a normal seam allowance. so I'm sewing that long seam and I'm nearly at the end of it. What I'm going to do is just stop there and I'm going to restart that seam. So I'm leaving a gap, I'm leaving a turning hole there. So I'm just line those edges. I'm going to leave about 4 or 5 inches will probably be enough. And just restart sewing and just finish that seam off. So what we've got now is the seam is sewn all the way along, so I've just that little hole there left where we're going to be able to turn it through, and that's the beauty of this scarf. There's no real tricky finishing to do because all of the raw edges are going to be on the inside. Right, so what we need to do now is to introduce that twist that makes the infinity scarf have something special about it. So you need to reach down into the scarf and get the other end and pull it up through, and that's pulling both right sides together. So I've sort of turned it into half into itself, and I can line those raw edges up. So just shake it out a bit and that'll just help it all sit nicely. And you can see what I've got here at the moment is I've got the raw edges of that seam aligned, and that means it's just a straight scarf. We want to twist it by 180 degrees so that we get that nice twist into the scarf. So by taking one of these and turning it round, so it sounds tricky but it's a lot easier to do than to describe. So I'm just going to shuffle it round, and it might not want to go at first, just persuade it and shake it out again so it sits nicely. Now what we've got is one of the straight edge seam allowances on the left hand side here halfway round, and at the other side there's the other one on the other side. So they're not aligned now, they're opposite each other. And then very simply we can sew this seam together. So just double checking you've got right sides facing and those long seam ends opposite each other, and then again pop it under the machine and just take your normal seam allowance and sew those sides together. Now again, just pin if you think you need to, otherwise just keep aligning those edges as you go. There we go, that's nearly all the sewing done. Let's find that opening that we left. So it's somewhere on this long edge, there it is. And all we can do is reach inside, grab hold of the scarf and turn it through. So this is where you see all of the back of the fabric being lost and all those raw edges going in, and all of a sudden you get the full impact of all the colour and it's all lovely and neat. Now all we have to do now is deal with this opening edge, which obviously it looks untidy, and obviously you could do that however you wanted. The simplest and quickest way I've found is just to take the edge where you've got the opening, and if you find it's easier to do so you can press it with an iron, but otherwise just pull it taut and finger press it to make those edges behave. And then all we're going to do is top stitch down that whole edge. So I'm going to stitch quite close to the seam, so I'll just roll it over. So I'll just move this table out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing, and we'll just stitch over the top. There we go, I've top stitched the whole seam. Now obviously you could just top stitch where the opening is, but by doing the whole of the length of the seam it makes it extra invisible and people really won't be able to tell where you left that opening and how you turned it through, and it does sharpen up that edge really beautifully as well. It gives a really nice neat professional finish. So I hope you'll enjoy making your own infinity scarf. It's a great way to use up perhaps some of those trickier fabrics that you might have in your stash that you can't usually use in your quilt making, because they're much better to wear because they're softer and drapier, and a great accessory for your winter wardrobe. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon on DMTV. Bye for now.